Hello, everyone, and welcome to AI4. Our next session is a panel on the state of AI in retail. Please join me in welcoming our virtual panelists to the stage. And I'll go ahead and hand it over to Hamza, our moderator for this panel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this session, and I'm very excited to be here. And before we begin, I want to take an opportunity to introduce all our panelists. So we have four panelists, Richard, Manick, Bala, and Francis. And Bala, let's start with you. Over what's your background? What do you do at eBay? And some of the work that you're doing these days.
Great. Thanks, Hamza. Great to be here. So my name is Bala Meduri. I lead the ML AI research and science teams along with the platform engineering, and which provides the full lifecycle ML platform that's used across eBay. So basically, our platform and science models are used pretty much across various experiences in the customer journey.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Francis, over to you.
Hi, I'm Francis Boykin, and it's really nice to be here. I'm Principal Advanced Analytics with AT&T. My role has been dual role. I've been leading the charge in advanced and predictive analytics for our global supply chain organization, as well lately for our customer experience teams as well. We're looking to ensure that we have the right products in the right places within our retail organization, as well as ensuring that we have a customer experience for all of our products and services that meets our customers' expectations.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right, Richard, over to you.
Hi, I'm head of global marketing, and I run the Americas business for a company called Cyberlink. We do all sorts of video, photo technologies, from consumer software that's pre-bundled for video editing and playback, all the way to facial recognition, which is the subject of interest today with a lot of technologies called FaceMe.
Awesome. Thank you. And lastly, Manick.
Thanks, Hamza, and great to be here, everyone. My name is Manick Bhan. I'm the CTO of Linkgraph. We help grow digital brands and websites through SEO and digital marketing. And I focus on building software and using machine learning to help give them the edge on Google with Google search, as well as Facebook ads using best-in-class technology.
Awesome. Thank you. Lastly, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Hamza, and I currently work as a principal data scientist at Walmart Labs. And I work on supply chain, I work on optimization, I work on pricing. So there's a whole bunch of things that you can think that happen in Walmart. I lead that effort. Now, coming over to our first question. All right. So our first question is a quick yes or no. Yes or no to start. You agree that retail is in the midst of an inevitable AI-driven transformation. So let's start with I think Bala, you say yes.
Emphatic yes.
Yes. Richard, Manick.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
And then Francis.
Yes, definitely.
Right. So see, this is like an easy pop quiz. Yes and no. and the right answer was yes. I just want to go a little deeper on this question with you, Francis. Do you have any specific example of this happening in your stores at AT&T?
Oh, absolutely. We've spent a lot of time and energy pulling together the requisite advanced analytics personnel to help us build out machine learning models, specifically recently to look at how do we ensure that we have the right products in the right place to support our marketing efforts for our retail organizations. So it's really been a growth opportunity. We kicked it off about 3 years ago. Well, maybe more 4 years ago. So 3 to 4 years ago, we kicked off that effort. Our leadership actually came to us and said, we want a data-driven organization. And we have really put pedal to the metal and pushed a lot of expertise in that area. And so not only are we looking at just product and services in the right areas, so looking at our consumers and the type of data that they utilize, the places that they utilize that data and that traffic, as well as how they feel about the products and services, our network. We're pulling all of that together. It's really been a great experience, and I've had the opportunity to be not only on the retail side and looking at the back end from that perspective, but also the front end and looking at exactly how our customers perceive what we're doing. So it's been a really great opportunity. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for that, Francis. Trika, can you have the next question? So basically, COVID has turned retail on its head. How has AI elevated any of COVID's impact? So Bala, can we have you give some overview of what you think about this?
Okay, great. So yeah, I think so much continues to change with the COVID-19, and we are, as eBay, committed to help our buyers and sellers to really navigate through that uncertainty, right? So if you think of eBay, we have 1.5 billion products/goods, and
yeah.
It's an important platform for the hundreds of millions of customers in order to come in, especially to transact during emergencies and also when supply chains get whacked, like what's happening during the pandemic, right? So one of the things that's important for us is like we have taken a lot of measures in order to take out the prohibited and restricted items, because or like this folks who make the false claims on the items, such as on the masks and sanitizers, which has become prominent, and also items being inflated for pricing, right? So what does this has AI to do with it, right? So we've been in the business for 20 years. So we've evolved a lot of rules-based systems and algorithms in order to identify the price gouging or the health masks or people who are making false claims on the items, right? So on top of it, what we had to do was our computer vision team, for example, came together with the risk organization very swiftly during the pandemic, and we built some very quick object detection and classification models in order to augment the existing filtering decision-based systems, right? And so in a way, and what this all resulted is to really take out 31 million items that are in violation of COVID-19 policy just in the last few months, right? So that's kind of just to give a glimpse of an example how, along with the existing decision systems and the AI algorithms and computer vision can augment, supplemented by some human judgment as well, because we do have customer service representatives who also manage that part of it too. So we have multiple examples, but just that's how really how computer vision and AI has been helping.
Yeah, but I've also heard that eBay has one of the biggest item structure and item collection of items. So creating item hierarchy and catalog is one of the toughest problems at eBay, right?
Correct. Yeah, I think so. With the inventory of 1.5 billion items, there comes like this unstructured, and how do we make sense of all that into product categorization and the taxonomy? So it's a very important topic that we continue to evolve for technologies to manage our inventory.
Awesome, Manick, do you want to add something to this from your end?
Sure. We've also seen AI being applied by a number of our clients in the call center space to help take these inbound call volumes, which are just incredible and way more than they would be able to staff for, and provide good customer experiences at scale when they can't get humans. And I think that's been really interesting, as well as many of the applications of AI to help, facilitate and accelerate vaccine development, vaccine research, and strictly in a biologic sense.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, we're going to quickly move on to our next question.
Actually, sorry, I'd like to bring a very different tack on how COVID is impacting retail and talk about the brick and mortar world of retail. FaceMe, our facial recognition technologies, by far the most popular product right now is a product called FaceMe Health. And what it does, it basically helps retailers create a safe in-store shopping environment. So when people walk in a store, we can instantly, in a very non-intrusive way, make sure that identifying people who are not wearing masks or not wearing them properly over their nose and mouth. Can also combine that with body temperature measurement with thermal cameras, and all that to sending messages to the people in charge of these facilities, so that you, on the one hand, create a safe environment that will make shoppers confident to go back into stores, but also avoid situations like we see in the news every day where shoppers have to confront people who are not having the right behaviors, because basically all of this is screened at the entrance. And the beauty of these technologies is that they can be retrofitted, just adding our software to the security camera systems already in most stores, maybe adding 1 or 2 thermal cameras. And we also have business partners where in smaller shops, you can install an all-in-one kiosk. All you have to do is plug it in the wall and it will do it for you. So I think this is an important angle where AI is definitely helping, and where there are solutions in the market right now.
I think that's great that you brought it up, and I had you written down for the third question, which is exactly this question. Patricia, if you can just look at the third question again. Basically, the question is, how is AI impacting the in-store experience? And Richard, I think you answered beautifully on that, you have the systems, you have the algorithms in place, and all you need to do is, just add into the current solution. So I think that's a very interesting way of mentioning it, that like you have an existing system, you don't have to throw it all out. You just need to do an update or an install or add on, and then it works directly with your current equipment. So I think that's very liberating, because every time when we talk about AI, we talk about throwing out everything else that we know and creating something from scratch. I think that's something that I want to call out, and a really good opportunity for us there. I want one more person. It could be Francis. Do you want to give us some feedback on question number 3? How is AI impacting the in-store experience, and then we'll move to question 4.
Yes, we're experiencing some of the same things that we've heard already, especially with monitoring temperature. That is a really big part of ensuring not only that our customers are safe, but also that our employees are safe. And that's something that has really been important at AT&T. We have a lot of employees all across the nation and the world. And one of the things that we have to do is keep our own employees healthy. And so using AI, as was mentioned earlier, to use for monitoring temperature. We also, and I know this is a little tiny bit not specifically AI focused, but ensuring that we understand the data that we need to make changes to our retail operations, especially in those areas where we've had to shut down stores. We definitely created some models to help us with that, so that we could determine whether or not we needed to put effort into possibly curbside service for those areas where we might have had to shut down a retail operation. But not only that, as part of COVID-19, we had to also make some changes with how we were servicing our cell phones, so our purchasing of cell phones. So in today's normal world, normal day life, you can purchase a cell phone in several different ways. You can go into a retail store. You can also go online. You can call us up, and you can purchase a device, and then you can pick it up at a store, or we'll ship it out to you. We actually had to use some modeling to determine, where the best effort that we could make within AT&T to make the changes we needed to make sure that we could still provide those cell phones. we not only need to sell, we have regular, regular consumers, but we also service first responders. We service those folks that are working in our hospitals. So all those important people still need their cell phones, and they need their cell phone service. So that was part when as we started to shut down our retail operations as part of COVID, we also had to augment and come up with better ways to service those customers anyway. So definitely machine learning, advanced analytics helped us with that process.
Yes. Yeah, I think I like to add something over here in terms of Walmart Labs. We actually have pickup in store. So we have this huge tower where you can go and you can punch in, your ID or something, or your barcode, and it brings your item. Similarly, we have pickup at store. So you go in, you again scan your barcode at a kiosk, and an associate comes and drops the stuff in your car. Lastly, we also had before COVID in-home delivery. So I actually worked with the in-home delivery. And what's very interesting is that they have a body camera right here, and they walk into your home. You give them a code, they walk in, and they put stuff in your fridge. So that's the dream, right? Hopefully, the next thing will be to take it out and cook for you also. But we are here right now where they're bringing stuff, that they're delivering. We're not doing it due to COVID, but that's a very interesting, thought process. Awesome. All right, guys. Trigger, can we get question number 4, please? All right. Within your organization, are AI models primarily built in-house or by third parties? So for that, Richard, can we start with you, please?
Sure. Yeah, we have at our headquarters about 100 engineers who develop all our AI algorithms and solutions in-house. It enables us to move extremely fast because the world of facial recognition, there's a constant race at the moment to make sure that accuracy is there. There's no bias due to lighting, gender, skin complexion. So with that, NIST is at this time assessing our solution, one of the top 5 in the world when it comes to accuracy. And it's very precise. So we can even do people face recognition when they wear a mask, which you cannot do, for example, with your phone. So yeah, it's all in-house, moving fast.
All right. So, and I want to do a back-to-back. So with Bala and Manick. Manick, you have a different company size, and Bala, we know about the structure of eBay. Now, both of you, one of you is much younger, one of you has been in the market for a while. So Bala, for you, is it just truly a combination of different in-house and outside algorithms for you versus what is the situation for you, Manick?
Right. Okay. So yeah, I think this is a very important topic. I think so. eBay certainly has a mindset of build in-house, but also adopt open source as well, right? And so most of the models are actually built and optimized in-house. But I have to caveat that what we do is some of the awesome innovation that's happening in the industry, whether for example the BERT architecture, neural network architecture from Google, or ResNet, and so we do take those neural network architectures, but where the power comes in is that we have enormous amounts of data, hundreds and hundreds of petabytes of data, right? So what we do really is take some of those neural network architectures as well, but train on top of eBay's enormous data, and that's where the power and the accuracy, and it adds the commerce context to the models, right? Which is super important, because for us, what's important is how are we transforming customer experience? And technology is a tool, so we optimize, we build some algorithms, but we take from open source, but train on top of our data, and that's where the real power kicks in.
Yeah. So just to add on, do you for the cloud infrastructure, do you have an on-prem to a third party, for example, GCP, Azure, or AWS? I'm guessing that's how it's set up, right?
So in principle, what we support from a platform perspective is to support heterogeneous software and hardware and public versus on-prem cloud and so on. From a capability perspective, we wanted to build our platforms and algorithms so that it can be seamlessly moved across the cloud, so to speak, right? But largely, we've built a lot of amazing capabilities in-house, and but we do work with a lot of partners as well. So.
Got it. So in contrast to all of that, how eBay does it, Manick, tell us a bit about your tech stack, infrastructure, and building algorithms.
Sure. So, when possible, I think, when I'm working with our engineering team of about 24 people, one of the main things we're always focused on is not reinventing the wheel, and leaving other organizations and other engineers to build models that we try to rely upon and utilize. So, IBM Watson, for example, is one of the most effective and powerful shops that's really delivered a lot of AI innovation at scale. And they have incredibly generous free service tiers that we've utilized for building our MVP products. A lot of times, in our context where we're analyzing Google's data and doing web crawling and trying to understand what are the kind of correlates of ranking well in Google, there's also a similar amount of scale of data. We have billions of data points. And so the only time when we really start to move away from utilizing those third-party models like IBM Watson is when the sheer amount of data and the amount of API calls gets to a scale at which, if we were paying for it, just way too high. Some things can also be done very efficiently, locally. So, we use, to be specific, we use PyTorch, TensorFlow, Watson, but we also have been using GPT-2, which has been really fascinating to see what OpenAI has created with GPT-2. They obviously don't allow people to use their full model, but they give a very effective model, and we've been using that to create ad copy for Facebook advertising and Taboola advertising and stuff like that at scale. And there's really a lot you can do with that without having to rebuild everything from scratch.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that really changes the world. Like, open source being available and you utilizing and personalizing the way that matches your need. I think that's great. I mean, things like Airflow, things like Kafka, they have just literally changed the way we think. Kubernetes is another example that I think it's revolutionary of how they have thought about it. It auto-scales itself. 3 years ago, auto-scaling was just something you hadn't heard of. You had to do a round robin. You had to set it up yourself. And now you just deploy something in a container, and that container just expands itself on Kubernetes itself. Awesome. I want to quickly move to our next question 5. All right. So the question is, when it comes to the online shopping experience, what is the possibility today thanks to AI that wasn't possible 10 years ago? And let's start with Francis. Francis, can you help us your overview on that question?
Oh, great question. We see so much, especially anyone that's used Amazon loves the AI-powered techniques that they utilize, especially with helping you see the things that you that you didn't know you wanted to buy. So a lot of ability to help you spend your money on things that you may not have known you needed. And it's really powerful to be able to collect that amount of data around customers and their purchases, and then use that data quickly to be able to push out marketing and sales opportunities to consumers. So really helping you hone in on the things that you could utilize to make your life better. And I think that's one of the great things that the AI has helped be powerful for shopping. Our key cards that we used to use all the time when we went grocery shopping. Remember those? And a lot of that data that was collected was used to give us coupons, but that's about all it could be used for. Now we see it being used to really push forth and understand what your needs are before you even know that you need them. I think there's a really great analogy in this that that's floating around the AI and machine learning community about a father who received a coupon at his house for baby products. And he's like, there's no one here pregnant. There's no one having a baby in this house. And it turns out that his daughter, who used her key card, her grocery shopping card at a local grocery store, had been buying things that alerted the AI model that she might be pregnant, and thus the coupon started coming to her home to alert for baby products. And that's how the news got released. But it's really interesting now how we can use these AI tools. And I heard someone else talk about all the great tools, TensorFlow and the Python and the R and everything that we're using now that we can use very quickly that we couldn't use in the past because we didn't have the kind of power in our local machines to actually pull that kind of data together and then push out something that was usable quick and in a hurry. And we definitely see that. I mentioned earlier as far as shopping and our retail experience at AT&T and how we use machine learning and AI to help us pinpoint, okay, when we go and build out our marketing model for whatever promotion we've got going, instead of doing that peanut butter spread where we say, okay, we know we predict we're going to sell, 500,000 of these particular phones. We've got 2,000 stores. Let's split it up and send them to all the stores. Now what we can do is we can use that AI and machine learning to help us say, hey, these particular items are going to sell better in this area because of the network, because of the type of customers that are there. We can look at the demographics. We can look at the network performance in those areas, and then we can put the right products for that area. So that's a new shopping experience that our customers didn't have before. Before, when you went into the store, it was whatever the traditional was going to be available. Now we literally can pinpoint the right things for that area. So you go into that store, you're going to look at the right phones that work the best in your area and support the consumers in that area. So it's pretty cool.
Yep. I actually been waiting for Richard to speak on this from the journey from poverty to all the way to where they are now. Richard, can you help us talk about your journey and your company's journey and what's your take on this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we have developed technologies that combine AR and AI. We have that one app called UCam Makeup that literally has been installed 1 billion times around the world. And what it does, it creates an interactive experience between shoppers and the brands. So you have most of the known brands that have products listed in the app. And this way, users can experience products using AI technologies, using just testing. We can identify very quickly products of interest or test new products, see if there's interest, and then create either an online shopping experience that's very rich, very personalized, or also bridge it into an omni-channel experience or online to offline that will draw people into the stores where they can have special incentives, coupons, and then get into the stores. You see more and more of these counters on the beauty departments that will have these big tablets that look like magic mirrors where basically people can try on virtually the products before buying them. So in the context of COVID and everything having to be contactless, it's a very, very efficient way not only to create an amazing experience online. When it comes to in-store retail, it's all about creating these unique interactive experiences. You do that, and you just also, research has shown us that people, they buy more, they spend a whole lot more time there. And also brands can push, let's say that orange colored lipstick, I'm making this up, but that is overstocked. If you propose it at the top of the list, guess what? People will start trying it on and say, oh, maybe that's good. So you can also do incentivize people to buy certain products. So it creates a very rich experience. And this is all technology available today, all runs at the edge. So we bring the AI and the AR into mobile devices. It's instantaneous. So yeah, and you can connect into loyalty programs. So this is a very interesting way where the retail shopping experience has completely changed in some industries, and these things will continue.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's more like mirror, mirror on the wall. How many versions of me are there all, right? So you can come up with as many versions, as many lipsticks. It's just endless, right?
Hey, Hamza,
Anyway,
can I add one quick, maybe about a couple of quick thoughts on this
absolutely.
question?
Come to you actually.
Okay, sorry. Like in the case of eBay, right? So we have 20 plus years of transactional data and clickstream data, right? And what's important is to have like a holistic understanding of the customers and holistic understanding of the products and geographies and all that, right? So, and what was not possible 10 years back and what's possible now is like computer vision has evolved extensively, right? And the kind of like visual search experience or some of the image cleanup when the sellers wants to upload the images and they can do the cleanup with just the hand touch on the devices, or the evolution of NLP, right? And with some of these latest architectures, we have like a deep understanding of the deep semantic understanding of the user's query and intent, right? So we can provide compelling search experiences, right? So it's a lot of like anomaly detection, wide and deep recommender systems and computer vision, and they fundamentally came to the forefront to touch every experience of the customer, not only on the site. I think, Richard, you touched on like the omni-channel, right? So, hey, you can shop online, buy it in store, right? And do the payment online and all that. So, but to kind of really have that holistic understanding of the customer and drive that end-to-end experience is where AI is really playing a very important role with, especially with the evolution of amazing architectures on the computer vision and NLP and so on. So.
Yep. I think, I mean, I don't think that I have enough stuff to talk about this. I mean, just look at, like attention is all you need, a recent paper on transformers. Correct. It just changes the way you think. Like, yes, feature engineering is tougher in neural networks, but when you just look at that paper, you're like, wow, this is beautiful. Now, and then you look at Hugging Face, right? And then they implemented GPT with Hugging Face. And you're like, there is endless opportunities. And I think one of the greatest part of the journey is engineers now understand business.
Correct.
Previously, engineers were disconnected from understanding business, and I feel like they knew amazing stuff to make, like amazing algorithms, but they could not connect to the end user. But now, when you read Uber engineering blog, or you read the Airbnb blog, the engineers have written those articles, and you can see that they're tying it all back to a metric. And I think that's the beauty of it, that we are now MBAs plus engineers plus, so the MBA will no longer, in my opinion, will no longer be the way it used to be. It will now be a tech version of being a product manager who knows just how to run Python and, different kind of algorithms and be able to read papers.
Right.
Right. Awesome. So question number 6 is, what are your favorite examples of AI within your company? Manick, let's start with you, and then we'll go. I actually will come to each one of you on this. So let's keep it short, but just talk about something what's your favorite one.
Cool. My favorite one, I led building this one with my team, so it's near and dear to my heart. It's a landing page optimizer. So what it does is it uses machine learning and natural language processing to improve the SEO of your landing pages. So it's very powerful and it's become extremely popular. What it does is it scrapes Google search results for the keyword you're trying to rank for, and then analyzes those search results to figure out what ranking factors and what topics and keywords Google's responding to, and then gives you a cheat sheet that you can use to make your landing page better. And so, it scores it, and if you use the tool, the results are they're amazing. We've seen many clients get the benefit of that and improve their rankings very quickly.
Yeah. Manick, just a follow-up question. How difficult was it to translate the journey of a technical or engineering perspective into a user as a base, because if a person who owns a bakery shop and they want to come up with a landing page and so on and so forth, they want to put products, let's say just an example, there's a lot of both journey involved for taking them from being extremely business minded to being analytical, right? Technical jargon. How has that journey been for you guys? And what do you do to, bridge the gap between that?
Well, our UI UX designers don't have PhDs, and so they're good at understanding what the customer really needs to see in order to use the technology. So the customer has no awareness they're using machine learning, and I think that's the way it should be. You want to simplify it and make it so simple to use that the complexity of what's happening in the back end is completely obfuscated. So that's been a really powerful product for us, as well as a kind of running these mini correlation models. Google uses thousands and thousands of factors for ranking search results on their search engine. And one of the challenges for brands is figuring out what factor is the most important factor for ranking for something. So people can just spin their wheels and they improve their content, they improve their page speeds, they spend all this time on the wrong things. So what we did is we built these mini correlation models for example, let's say you're in the automotive space and you're trying to rank for Toyota cars or something like that, like your Carfax. We have now the ability to basically package an analysis for thousands of search queries to figure out what are the most important factors that Google is considering in terms of ranking those ranking pages and search results. And so that's really taken the timelines for the SEO organizations from being like potentially a year to see results to just a few months.
Got it. Bala, you get one thing to pick. I know you will pick up a lot of things, but I just want you to pick one thing now.
Yeah, you're asking me to pick who's my favorite child, right? So I'll try it. So I think visual search is pretty cool because if shoppers want to use pictures instead of words, right? So, and that's a compelling experience. And of course, there's a lot of things on the language translations and enabling cross-border trade, for example, right? Which is super important from a business perspective, right? So yeah, I think, I would say visual search and language translation and some NLP applications like Manick touched on are very relevant to exactly what we're doing as well.
Yeah, I can only imagine, for the visual search, how much you have to pre-process and keep the models refreshed at the back end so that the real time, the latency is very low, right? Of when someone searches. And the number of APIs you're hitting every single minute, every single second, how do you scale them? That's something to think about, right?
Yeah, if I may, I think, so we do deploy, like, for example, the CV libraries on the client. So sometimes like it's a mix of on the device and also some backend processing. But it's a very interesting problem to not kill the latency, but provide that compelling, snappy experience, right? So it's a deep topic, but
Right. All right, Richard, over to you. What's your feedback?
No, absolutely. I mean, we have AI everywhere in our products, like from image enhancements, video enhancements, but by far the one closest to my heart is our facial recognition engine because it's generating revenues and it percolates everywhere. So it can go into products. I was talking about the makeup. It can help create personalized shopping experiences by identifying demographics of anyone looking at a camera, collecting statistics. It can do authentication in a few milliseconds. So measure extremely precisely the vectors on someone's face, match to a database, and then grant access or not with 1 chance in a million of false recognition, which is 100 times better than any other biometrics. And this thing is so flexible. It runs at the edge. It runs on every platform, every OS. Depending on the version of the model, it can be implemented in very low-powered IoT devices all the way to very powerful workstations if you want to protect Fort Knox. So this is the heart of what we do. And I wouldn't say every day, but every month we bring new applications to it because it's becoming very prevalent. And the beauty of it is that these use cases that we develop in-house and develop and implement with partners all have to do with improving people's user experience, improving security, different places. So just making people's life better. We're not talking about Big Brother spying on people. This is not our business. So in that case, we feel that we're doing something good, something that's very relevant in the world today, and something that'll be very relevant in the next 5 to 10 years.
Awesome, awesome. Right, and last but not least, Francis, what's your favorite AI?
Wow, we have a few, but I think my favorite is our new process that we've created for using virtual reality for our customer experience, our customer interaction. So basically, we've created an ability for the customer to come in and ask certain questions, and using AI, basically get responses on issues and technical issues, device issues, and as well as their maybe even billing issues that normally they would have to talk to a person for. And we've been using some technology to help us with building out a way for us to actually answer those questions any time of the day or night, and kind of navigate through a system of AI and questions and answers. So it's pretty cool. I'm not totally involved in the project, except for the UX part of it, the graphical design part of it. But the back end is very exciting, and it's really, especially with this whole COVID-19 issue, building out opportunities for us to have our employees be safe and our customers be safe, but still get service, is what really excites me about this new technology that we're working with.
Yes, I think at the end of the day, we will all have to rethink about how we use technology, and especially for brick and mortar endpoints, we really have to reconsider how our customers shop. Walmart and Target, this year announced that they're going to be closed on Thanksgiving. That is like the first time that it has ever happened. And, just think about the implications of how we're going to drive that, and the impact of for the first time, we're going to run everything on .com. So I think great things are at bay. And I think that this leads to our last question, pretty much, which we all thought we knew. Where do you see AI taking retail over the next 5 years? I think 6 months ago, if I'd asked you this question, you all would have had a different answer. But with COVID in play, and I don't know how long it's going to be here, but it has definitely changed our life in every perspective that we can think of. So based on that process, Francis, I know you've spoken about the in-store experience, keeping your employees, safe, and making sure your customers are happy at the same time. Let's start with you again on how do you see, with COVID in play, I don't know how long, I hope it goes away soon, but what do you see changing in 5 years?
So here's the interesting thing. I think that COVID-19 is going to get manageable, right? Right now we're in crisis, and we have to work our way through the crisis, but just like the other diseases that have come along, we'll work our way out of that crisis, and then we'll get to a point where we manage it, right? But what I believe is that the things that we've seen change because of COVID-19 are not going to go away. Curbside, no one's going to want to have to come into your store to buy anything anymore. We're never going to go back to that, is what I'm thinking. And so what I think is the changes that we're starting to see right now today to help us get through COVID-19 are going to be in play, and then we're going to enhance those. So we're going to see even more of that. So we're going to see less retail storefronts and more of this opportunity to actually interact without this, what do you call it, no touching. And I think that is actually really cool. I think it's scary, because we need, what about the people who did those jobs or did those activities? So it's a little bit scary, but at the same time, I think we've seen a change that's actually going to just start increasing. We've already, within AT&T, seen the opportunity to not just change to help our customers right now, but to change some processes to help ourselves down the road. And I think that's what we're going to see now. Now that we know that people are willing to not have to come into the store and that they're okay with stopping at the curb and picking up their items, I think it's all on now. I think we'll see much more of that.
Yep. So, Manick, I have a question for you on that. Now, a lot of companies, any size of the company is thinking about an online assistant. How has that affected your business currently, and how do you see that changing in the next 5 years?
Sorry, what aspect of the online system? Sorry, I missed that.
Basically, right now, almost every single retailer or any business is thinking about having an online assistant, right? And there are going to be more and more people who are like, how do I optimize my search? How do I make sure that I'm available? Now, you could be working with medium size, you could work with small size, you can work with large size. How do you think that will play a role with how you have envisioned your products to be in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we're seeing is, and even just in terms of the technologies and stacks that we're using, we're going to see AI applied to solve a huge array of problems, and those specific incarnations of AI technology become their own SaaS companies. So like for credit card fraud, there are companies that specifically just solve that using best-in-class AI technology. So I think we're already seeing those transformations happening and companies utilizing AI in their stacks by partnering with these companies. But even sort of the broader arc of this is, AI used to be something, and machine learning used to be something that only companies with vast war chests could really afford and be speculative about and invest in and play with. But over the next 5-10 years, I think we're going to see a democratization of the technology such that smaller and smaller players are going to be able to leverage these innovations in their companies. And I think the companies that have really been at the peak of that, the ones who have really invested in the technology the most, and specifically, I mean, Google, they've put so much money into it. Their two key, innovations were cloud computing at a scale that no one else could really match for a long time. And in addition, AI. Both of those two things are commoditized, or they're becoming commoditized. So we're going to move into a world where we can all almost have our own search engine, and a lot of things will become commodities. And that means that.
Sorry, Manick, I'll have to cut you off here. We only have 120 seconds left, and I want to go quickly 20 seconds with you, Bala. Bala, give us a 20-second update on what your thoughts are, and Richard, I'll come to you right after that. Guys, we have less than a minute left, so I want to ensure that we go fast. Bala, over to you.
Okay, yeah, I think ultimately, AI will augment the existing intelligence supplemented by human judgment. I think that's what I'd say how next 5 years, but specifically in the commerce context, I think conversational commerce will become mainstream, for example, or fraud protection will be highly sophisticated, or the site experience or the shopping experience get hyper personalized, right? So hyper personalization, conversational commerce, fraud protection, immersive commerce experiences is where I think will become almost like not even a discussion. This will become table stakes, is what I think.
Right, and you'll have to have concentrations in that. Instead of just being ML, you will be recommendations or experiments on your console. All right, and last but not least, Richard, 20 seconds to you now.
Okay, I'll be quick. Like everything Francis, Bala, Manick said, I agree. And I like Bala said, personalization, ultra personalization. That's what we bring to the table. That's what we're going to see in the next 5 years. As Francis said, people want to buy at the curbside. Well, actually, you still want, in some cases, to get people in the store. And there you want to create these ultra personalized experiences. So the moment they enter the store, if they are recognized, they're opted in. So they recognize loyalty program. They don't need to remember the password on their phone. Then automatically they can get into that interactive world where they're recommended what they want. Luxury shopping, they're in the store in Paris. Normally they shop in Beverly Hills. They have a private shopper who comes to them, gives them great experience. Even the grocery store, all these coupons, everything is contactless. You walk in the store, you recommended stuff, but then you're at the cash register, they see your face. here you go. So there's, I think this is where the whole experience, I talked about online to offline earlier. I think this is all comes together, and whoever cracks the code to creating these amazing experiences, they will be winners in the market.
Got it. Well, I think thank you everyone for your responses. I just want to remind you guys of one thing. Do you guys all remember the 2020 or Back to the Future, where there was 3D holograms and there was TV that was personalized and says, have a Pepsi? So just think about it, that's what the vision was, where we wanted to be, flying cars and all of that. I think we need to get there in somehow. But everyone, thank you so much for your time. This has been great. Patricia, over to you.
Thank you so much. And the virtual crowd goes wild for our panelists. That was an awesome discussion, and we really appreciate all of your incredible insights. Thank you again to all of our panelists, and thank you to the audience for participating. All right, if you're headed to your next session, you can check out the program page to find out where you're going next. Also, take some time to connect with your peers in our virtual networking. Thanks so much, and we'll see you around.